Hello, everyone, and welcome back to OS World Cup Round of 32 weekend. It is time for the last match of the round. It has been a topsy-turvy affair this weekend. We've seen upsets, we've seen tiebreakers, and everything in between. And we're going to get one more hopefully great match coming up next. It is Canada versus Norway starting right about now. I'm this one guy. Joining me for this match is going to be Miles. Welcome to the match, Miles. Thoughts here on our final match of the week, Canada and Norway going head-to-head.
I think it's really crazy that we're seeing this in round of 32. Like, this is actually such a stupid match to be happening this early. Like, for everyone who isn't aware, Canada had a couple players playing at TwitchCon for the qualifiers round, which means their seeding might be a little bit lower than I think a lot of people expected them to be at seed 11. And that's throwing a really big wrench in the bracket. They're going up against another quite formidable team in Norway this early, which is going to make for, I think, quite the interesting affair when you see two very strong teams on an early stage pool. We're going to probably see a lot of full combos.
Yeah, this week has been a very interesting one because there have been a lot of teams that are very closely matched, battling it out very early on in the bracket. We've seen, I believe, 3 tiebreakers this weekend, a couple other close matches as well. And yeah, you don't expect to see Canada as low-seeded as they are. Perhaps a little unfortunate for Norway seeing Canada as their opposition in the first round here, but a very strong early round team nonetheless. And I think with the pools being a little bit easier and some of those players at the perhaps lower end of the teams not being skill capped as of yet, this is the opportunity that a team could want. And of course, awaiting the winner of this already in round of 16 is Germany, so, you've got that to look forward to if you win this match. But you'd always rather win than lose, and so we are going to get into things right away. It is Canada winning the roll, and we will see how things shake out in our bands and to get started with our pick phase. What do we think here for these teams? Are there likely picks and bans?
I think for Canada, you're going to go with their classic skill sets. I think they're going to really like the aim against this Norway roster. Probably that Nomad 1, Hidden 2, Hard Rock 1, all likely picks for them. In terms of bans, not too sure, honestly, with Canada. I mean, Norway's a pretty strong speed roster with players like Nineric and Pingwinzi on that roster. You might want to think about banning out something like DT2. But also, Canada is quite literally one of the best speed countries in the world, so not sure if they're going to do that. But it looks like they're going to be banning out the Nomad 1, so I'm going to be eating my own words here. That is honestly unexpected.
Well, so the interesting fact about that one, if you compare their qualifier scores, Nomad 1 is the only map where Norway had a higher qualifier score than Canada. Not like Canada's bad at aim, and traditionally I'm sure Zudinator would be able to carry that, but underperforming a bit due to being at TwitchCon, and maybe just not as confident with something that is kind of an early round straightforward, pretty simple Nomad 1, want to avoid that one. And it is going to be the Hidden 2 ban coming out from Norway, which looks weird until you remember that Hidden 2 is actually Hidden 1 this week, and vice versa. So that is going to be the Air 9 Awkward Aim Lucent map being banned out. It is not a low AR pick. That's going to be Hidden 1 on this pool. Norway, of course, a team that is known for the low AR hidden, so I feel that we do need to make that clarification known.
And I feel like it's rare for us to see Norway have that AR8 hidden open for them. They have Darkness Parade, the hidden one, open in the map pool, along with the Fremont 2, which is a AR8 CS5 map. So I think they might opt into picking one of those. I think they might actually favor the Fremont 2 because they aren't necessarily a full team of 4 when it comes to reading players. Like, you have Yoxpai and GN, and then kind of a bit of a fall off to their 3rd and 4th. But when you have a map like Fremont 2, they're able to put like Yox on hidden, GN Nomad, and then someone like Antony W on the Hard Rock for them. So gonna be a bit curious to see what their first pick is. They're taking quite a long time on the timer.
Yeah, this is a matchup where it's always going to be tough to decide on your picks, I think, in a match that is going to be likely to be this close. So definitely want to put your best foot forward especially if you are the underdog team in the matchup. Yeah, Norway taking their time here. I don't know. The free mod, I like the idea of the free mod. I think you kind of sold me on that one, but otherwise, definitely plenty of options available to them. So we just wait and see, I guess. This is running through quite a bit of this timer, though. I will say that.
And I just remembered another player on Norway who's actually a name change. Comfy is on that team. I believe under the username, pardon me, it is Amai Koromo, I think is Penguinzy. But they're going to go for the Nomad 4. Rolling beat. This has been, I think, one of the higher average scoring maps in this map pool. A very, I think, basic tourney core tech pick, to say the least. One that, if you're thinking of a Nomad 4 in a tournament, you're probably going to think of something like this. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, definitely a very, very early round Nomad 4 vibe to this one, and I don't know how I feel about it, but I don't know how I would have felt about much else. I mean, Cut Paper is going to come in and assess this for Canada because that's the sort of thing that he does, but you've got players on Norway who I think are going to be more than comfortable with it as well, so any map that you pick is going to be contested between these teams, I think, and so we're just gonna have to see what Norway, starting off with the Yokespie, puts in as their roster, and just how, a lot of the matches this weekend have kind of felt more so like how does the team perform on a given day, more so than who has who is better at a given skill set, because pretty much everybody's capable of playing these pools fairly well, and I think this is going to be an example of that.
That's what I've been saying. It's just who has the better day, who woke up on the right side of the bed this morning, who feels like they're gonna come into the lobby and FC this map. That's exactly what's going to determine the outcome of this match, because as you said, everyone should be able to play this map. As we see Nineric and Antoni W joining Yokespie in the lobby, while Team Canada gonna look to be rolling with Xylus, Cut Paper, Vesprit, and Zudinator. That is a very scary roster for any tech map.
Yeah, I think Nineric probably perma-lobbies for this Norway team. Highest skill cap player on their roster, and has definitely gotten good at a lot of different skill sets beyond just speed, as he's best known for. More than capable of performing on just about anything you throw his way in a tournament setting. So we're going to get underway. It looks like the MP start coming out. We've got the players set. We've got the match set. And we are going to get underway with our final match of round of 32 weekend. One of these teams advances onward into round 16. Other one drops into losers round 1. And it's going to start off with a Nomad 4 first pick from Norway in just a moment.
So we wait for the client to get situated. Little bit surprised to see Cut Paper playing on the Nomad, maybe gotten a little bit more comfortable at reading that. For all of those who aren't aware, he is a hidden main, and he is cursor dancing those slider ticks for God knows what reason. That is ballsy in a World Cup match, brother.
Sometimes you gotta do that to make sure you're staying loose and comfy in those slow intros. But in we go for real. As we get through the intro, everybody dead even, just SS's on the board through the first couple hundred combo. Feeling good, feeling comfy.
Probably not going to see a break on anyone until we start to get into some of the longer streams. Here comes the first of those. And nobody finds a break on it. Oh, never mind. Melver and Vesprit trading on the space part.
Yeah, the little early trade, it's going to be basically dead even. It's a slight advantage to Canada on accuracy, but really not a lot to write home about. There goes Antoni W, though. That was a chain miss, several breaks on that little burst. And that is going to be helpful for Canada as they continue to hold the three-way. And, 100 each for Xylus and Cut Paper. Couple more hundreds for Yokespie and Nineric, but it is that Zudinator holding the FC versus Antoni W and Melver both having broken that is going to give Canada the advantage by 120k. This one pretty short, already halfway through.
Cut Paper definitively answering my question of if he can read Nomad well with that 99.70% accuracy. He's looking comfortable with the approach circles.
Yeah, no worries there at all. And this one is just going to be all Canada all the time, it looks like, unless they fall apart right in this build-up to the last difficult section. But I don't see that as being very likely, considering how comfy they've looked with the map so far. And with it being a 300k lead, it would have to be about now that it would be a full reset for Canada if Norway wanted to have any chance, and that is simply not going to happen. And into the last slider aim section we go. 470k lead. This one is a break point to Canada, all but done with.
Xylus finds a break near the end, but despite the good re-established combos from Melver and Antoni, Yokespie finding a break near the end, and Nineric looking to lock out. Actually, a choke. He did break earlier. I did not notice that, but still, all things considered, not a bad performance from Norway, but Canada with a two-way FC, nearly a three-way FC. 670K from Vesprit, 3.5 million almost. That is what you expect from one of the top teams in the tournament.
Yeah, I think Canada definitely going to be out to prove to everybody that the 11 seed was very much a fluke. That is exactly how you want to start off your bracket stage campaign, with a nice double FC from Cut Paper and Zudi. Xylus and Vesprit following not too far behind. 3.4 mil is a very solid team score as well. Canada first pick, you mentioned them feeling very comfortable on speed, but definitely plenty of other skill sets they could opt into as well. So I think this one definitely up to just whatever they feel most comfortable with on the day.
Typically, Canada would opt into something like that Hidden 2, but Norway did ban it out, so they're going to have to look elsewhere for their first pick. But Canada's one of those juggernaut teams where you feel like they could really opt into any skill set, especially in one of these early rounds, and they're going to be able to put out a form that's capable of getting the all because that's just what you come to expect from a team that's a juggernaut.
Let's see here. I wonder if both teams are just going to be taking their time picking here. It is free mod 1 for Canada, so we are going free mod 180 BPM flow aim consistency. This is one of the longer maps in the pool, one of the two longest maps in this pool at over 4 minutes, so a lot of combo to be had, a lot of pretty comfy flow patterns throughout, but long enough to challenge you, and of course somebody on Hidden, somebody on Hard Rock to make things just a little more difficult. Canada, not a team that I would ever be too concerned about on free mods, however, plenty of comfy mod players on that roster. Likewise for Norway, I think this is again one where both teams should be able to perform well, but Canada, with maybe just that higher skill cap and consistency, going to take a bit of an advantage on some of these picks.
Streams on this map might notably be knocking Yolk's Pie out of the lobby, which would be pretty bad for Norway, considering he's one of their most consistent players. We see Stoof come in for Canada. Veteran making his return for this year's Canada roster. Always love to see that.
A stream player, pretty comfortable in these flow maps. No surprise to see him coming in. And Paper Candle Nineric, Anthony W. Melver, it looks like, for Norway, possibly set to go here. What do we see? Zudinator, HDHR, and then do we go, is it Vesprit or Stoof Hidden?
It would be Vesprit Hidden,
Vesprit
and I
Hidden?
think Norway is going to go Paper Candle Hidden, and then either Melver or Antony Hard Rock. But looks like someone's out of the lobby.
That was, oh geez, who was the fourth member there for Norway at that point in time?
Antony, I think.
Anthony W, yeah, so he's gonna drop out. We'll see who replaces him or if he comes back in.
It's GN. There's no easy multiplier in this tournament, right?
There's no easy period.
No easy period, okay. Well,
Yeah, no easy allowed.
Expect to see GN on a no mod or a hidden then. But yeah, GN, one of the longest tenured OWC players ever, I think, with Musty up in his 12th year? Is that right?
It's been a lot, yeah. Well, hopefully we oh, Nineric leaves, alright. I feel like the timer is probably expired by now, so I'm not really sure what's going on. Melver saying, I think Nineric died, give us a second, so not positive what's going to happen here. We're going to play it by ear a little bit. A little slow to get started for these guys, but hopefully they can get in the lobby and get set up. Also, quickly, shoutouts Malashevsky, winning MGC just now. 7-1 over Vaxe. Good job to him elsewhere in the tournament world. Well done there, as we wait for this match to get to continue onward.
Yep, what a beast that guy is, Malashevsky, taking out one of the legends of this game once more. I think this is third time beating him. It is pretty cool. But back to this match. This is not the first time we've seen some technical difficulties with the tournament server so far in the round of 32, so looks like they are going to be allowing Nineric to get back in the lobby. Here he comes, back in that far right top slot.
And hopefully that means we'll be able to get started with this second map here. Running things a little slower in this one as these technical difficulties affect the players. And in we will finally go. At long last, it is going to be Paper Candle, Hard Rock, GN Hidden, Zoonator as expected, HDHR, and I'm going to assume Vesperit on Hidden. Oh, and an Overmod for Canada.
Ooh.
With Ryuke coming in on Hard Rock. I guess not too big a surprise. He is pretty known for like Hard Rock solo plays and stuff, so if he feels comfortable in this with HR, no reason not to. You know, that little extra mod multiplier can prove to be a difference maker on some of these early round picks. I don't know if it's necessarily this one, but for Canada, it must feel like it is.
Ryuke's Hard Rock, man, is just so strong. For those who aren't aware, after Ryuke stopped playing Speed and Solo, his focus primarily shifted to Hard Rock, so definitely no surprise to see him take it just out of comfort, as we see Paper Candle find an early break on the side of Norway.
Yeah, a couple misses on that early stream there. Gotta get the comfort level locked in on the Hard Rock for Paper Candle, but everyone else holding on to the FC, so it's going to be a small early lead to Canada. The accuracy on Ryuke not helping, unfortunately, does keep the score a little closer than it would be otherwise, as he is still, in fact, behind Paper Candle's score, despite having a 250 combo lead over his opposite Hard Rock number.
Into this first little linear space stream, nobody finds a break as we enter the first chorus. Still only Paper Candle on the break, which leaves Norway in striking distance if Canada does manage to find some drops, but I think they're going to be hard-pressed to ask for breaks from these members of Canada.
Yeah, everyone on Canada thus far looking very comfortable. The accuracy staying pretty high on everyone except Ryuke, and his is building back up as well. A couple hundreds in this slower section, but on those 1/3 patterns, it's not the most surprising thing. Everyone in Norway has built up quite well. It is just Paper Candle, a couple hundred combo behind, so they are poised to try to make a comeback happen if Canada finds any breaks. We're only a third of the way through. There is a lot of time and a lot of combos still to go.
And all it takes is that one little lapse in concentration for you to find a break on a 4-minute long map like this. Even if you see it 100 times in your practice, still always the chance for you to find that break.
So far, so good for 7 out of the 8 players in this lobby, though. Map never really lets up. I feel like it never really gets incredibly difficult either. No true big diff spikes in this one, so much as just continuing, you know, similar flow patterns as you see through most of the map. So as you said, it's really just all about keeping that concentration up, and you know, the song not like super energetic either outside of the key eyes. So you know, it's that little extra bit of concentration can really end up being important. But so far, like, it's just 7 FCs. Everybody's just absolutely chilling.
Oh, but Vesperit, that's a big drop. Norway now going to be able to take the lead back if they can all hold on for a little bit longer. Oh, but Ryuke GN? Hello?
That's trade, so it's 2 FCs for Canada on Stoof and Zooties. Stoof on some very good accuracy. But it is Ninrik and Melver matching the FCs with Paper Candle on a 1300 combo supporting them, and there goes Ryuke once again. That score gap is going to start to come down, but there goes Paper Candle, and now it is just the matching FCs on either side of Ninrik, Melver, Zooty, and Stoof. It is a 2v2 on the board, and the combo pretty well identical otherwise, which means Canada will be able to hold on to this advantage for the time being as long as those FCs stay intact.
And someone on Canada has pretty good accuracy right now.
Yeah, it's all right. That dude is doing okay for himself.
Honestly, Zooty 99% hidden hard rock, also extremely impressive. This is probably upwards of a high 500 PP with over 99 on hidden hard rock, maybe even a 600. Gonna have to get a PP check on that. And into the ending, we're gonna see if these 4 full combos in the lobby can hold. Stoof, don't do it, Stoof, please. Into the last little doubles.
He got it.
Drops 100.
Where was that 100?
It was on the burst.
Oh, that is so sad. The 100 in like the last 20 combo. You hate to see it. Poor Stoof, man. Oh, that is unfortunate. Zootinator with the HDHR FC as well. Ninrik and Melver matching the double FC, but those two both on Nomad. The score not quite up to where it needed to be. And unfortunately, the combination of Paper Candle and GN just a little bit behind Vesperit and Ryuke. And that is Canada consolidating the break point. This one was pretty tense a lot of the way through, but fortunately for Canada, that break at the 2/3 mark from Paper Candle kind of extinguished Norway's hopes at a comeback on it.
Seeing a lot of talk about nerves on the side of Norway. Yokespy talking about nerves on the last map, Paper Candle on this map. It's always tough coming into OWC, biggest tournament of the year, thousands of viewers representing your country, so for Norway's sake, hopefully on this next pick they could clear their minds a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, with only a best of 9, you don't have a lot of time to control your nerves. You've only got a couple maps before matches can start to feel unwinnable, so really got to calm that down as quickly as possible. The support in chat. Nice to see from the teammates and the opposition. But it's going to be next pick to Norway. Down 2-0, Canada with the consolidated break point, but plenty of time still left. Norway just got to find a good pick here and get on the board with this map, I think, going to be the key one, because you can't expect many break points against Canada. So your first giant priority is just get one on the board with your own next pick here.
And it's going to be the DT2. I think this is a pretty good pick for Norway. They have a really strong 3 on this in Ninarik, Penguinzi, and Comfy. All should be very strong on this map. But Canada, I've been hyping up their speed for a while. They have some extremely comfortable speed players in the likes of Ryuke and Xylus, and Vesprit is probably going to be able to shred this map as well.
Yeah, this has felt like it's one of the easier maps for a lot of players in this early pool. We've seen some 4.6, 4.7, I think, million scores on it even. So definitely one that the speed players are going to feel super, super at home. Nothing too difficult in terms of the aim requirement. Tapping requirement only at, I think, 219 BPM, and no super long death streams either. So this is, in this particular matchup, I mentioned before, Norway, a team that is pretty solid on speed. You know, not sure that their reputation necessarily directs itself to that belief, but they are, generally speaking, good at these early round speed maps. So I think this is a good diversion, too, into kind of a different skill set where, like, let's just go tapping and see what happens with, like, a little more raw tapping requirement instead of the more flow aim requirement of the free mod that Canada just picked.
And I think this is also going to be a little bit of a confidence pick. You have one of the best speed players in the game in Ninarik. You assume he's going to come in and put up an extremely good score, so you already have, like, that really good score base to put the rest of your confidence on. And I can tell you from experience, it's always good to know that one guy on your team is going to get a really good score on a map when you pick it, regardless of how the enemy is going to do. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention, another speed specialist on the side of Canada, Curtis, coming into the lobby, I think, for his debut in the bracket stage for this year.
Yeah, Curtis has been known for a few years now, I would say, as Canada's resident kind of speed specialist. That's what he's on the rosters for. His aim has been a little questionable at times, but he's always super solid on the speed. So if he locks down the aim portion, he's going to be a good performer on these types of maps. And obviously the rest of the Canada's roster, Xylus, one of the best speed players in the world. Ryuke is a solid speed player for years on end. So a very scary DT2 roster put together here for Canada. But Norway, likewise, as you said, Ninarik possibly, you know, what, top 3, top 5 speed player in the world right now, if not higher. And there is the unfortunate early break from Curtis. I feel like I spoke that one into existence.
On the aim, of course. DT player misses on aim. Unfortunate occurrences. So that's going to give an early combo lead over to Norway, but the accuracy is actually going to be in favor of Canada for now, as Ninarik finds a break on aim as well. That is not what you want to see from Norway.
No, you really can't afford to have Ninarik breaking on a map like this if you're Team Norway. That is your rock, that is your anchor player on these types of maps. That is very, very bad for their team, because he's the guy you have to have come in and FC this like 99 times out of 100. And unfortunately, this was just that 100th time, I guess. And there goes Paper Candle as well. Perhaps the nerves still getting to him a little bit, as he was alluding to in the previous lobby. So that is now 1 FC left for Norway, as Penguinzi the next to fall. Meanwhile, Xylus, Ryuke, Stoop all still holding on. This is looking increasingly doomed for Norway as we hit the halfway mark with Canada up 200k plus.
Yeah, Comfy standing alone here up against the 3 full combos and the reestablished combo from Curtis on the side of Canada. And this is very quickly getting out of hand for Norway, if it isn't already out of hand.
Yeah, there is just not going to be anything Norway can do at all here. This is going to be, at this rate, a really good team score from Canada, too, if they can continue to hold on to this three-way full combo, with the only break being the first couple hundred combo from Curtis. And, you know, it's recovery from Ninrik. It's continuing to hold that FC for Amai Koromo, but it just doesn't matter when you're up against the type of score that Canada's got on their side.
Yep, and you were alluding to some prior matches where teams got upwards of 4.5 million team score on this, and we're looking to see the same thing from Canada as Humphrey breaks his full combo finally. It's going to be 750k from him, which is not a bad score, but when you look at the scores of Canada, that is not going to be enough. He needs about 1.5 million score more.
Yep, this one was pretty doomed the instant that Norway found two breaks, as it turned out, because it is, if it is not going to be a three-way FC, it's going to be very close to one, and it looks like it is going to be that three-way, and that is a 4.4, maybe 4.5 once the spinner's over million score, just shy of 4.5 million, and that is a DT2 pick backfiring in the worst possible way for Team Norway, losing it by 1.6 million. You just cannot have that in a matchup that you want to be competitive in. Only the highest score on the team, 870k against a triple FC, and the one player who broke from Canada with Curtis holding the 943k. I mean, that's better than by 70,000 points on the highest score on the side of Norway. You're not going to win too many maps that look like that.
And this is just further adding to that narrative, man. Canada seed 11 performing like this, albeit it is a round of 32, but still, they are absolutely converting on every single map, just getting such good scores so far in this matchup.
And now if you're Canada, I actually think you just pick DT3 here and say, like, it's 4-0 moving on, because that is a, 260 BPM bursty DT pick. I think that would be a pretty good option here, but it really feels like after the first three maps that they could go wherever they want, because it just feels like they're the stronger team at this point.
The confidence of being up 3-0 just so definitively on every map. It felt like Norway only really had a chance on that Fremont 1 when they were down just about 200k. That break from Paper Candle on that map just seemingly taken them out of the match so far, unfortunately.
It's gonna be hidden 1, so which is hidden 2 for those who are used to normal slots. This is the low approach rate, and Canada is sticking with the flow aim picks, because this is a low BPM flow low AR hidden pick, which is not something I feel you see all the time, but that's what we have here. It's going to be a 160 BPM CS5 Air 8 flow hidden pick.
On a custom song as well, Cygnus, also known as Matrix, some Osu homegrown musical talent, making the song for OWC. As much as I'd like to say this is a good pick for Canada, they are invoking Norway's traditional trap card. They're going to have Yoxpai and GN in the lobby, and I'm sure they are going to get scores on this. Although this has been one of the harder maps in this weekend. We saw one of the easier maps in that DT2 now going into arguably one of the hardest in this hidden 1.
Yeah, I feel that this is not a skill set you often see tested in the low AR picks. Like, you usually see them a little more aimy or reading, less so into the flow tapping type of stuff. So perhaps explaining a little bit why players are struggling more with this particular pick. But again, you know, you've got Canada with guys like Cut Paper and Vesperate, who are going to be absolutely terrifying on this type of map. Much as Yoxpai and GN will be scary on it for Norway, Canada's definitely got the roster to play this incredibly well.
Yeah, Cut Paper, that newcomer, seeing him in some rank restricted tournaments, man, he is a sight to behold on these kinds of gimmick picks. Like, the AR8 hidden is just absolutely his domain, and you're right, I think he is probably going to be able to match the likes of GN and Yoxpai on this, if not out-overperform them. But for Norway's sake, gonna need to see a massive performance from Yox and GN on this, because Ninarek and Antoni, as good as they are, I don't think they really specialize in this type of pick.
No, I think Ninarek for sure has gotten better at these types of maps over time as he's, you know, played more and more tournaments, but not his specialty, traditionally speaking. And yeah, Canada's got a scary roster, and we're gonna get into it if you start coming out. Canada looking to consolidate the double break point 4-0. If they can win this one, they'd be match point in their favor the rest of the way through if that were to come to pass. Another decently long map, 3 minutes, so we'll be here for a little while on this one. The consistency being called into question once more, but it's a lot about that low AR reading flow aim stuff in this pick. And we've seen plenty of flow aim, and Canada's looked pretty good on it so far.
But putting flow aim on air 8 hidden is like spinning a roulette wheel. Sometimes you just don't know where it's going to land. As much as you practice this, the flow aim just goes off by 1 little millimeter. Find yourself chain missing on one of these patterns, and depending on who that affects, it will definitely determine the outcome of this map.
There is an early break from Xylus, not what you want to see from your captain there on the side of Canada, so it's going to be an early advantage to Norway, which is something, well, it should be at least. Accuracy difference? Oh, Nineric broke as well, I apologize. I was going to say early advantage to Norway, but not quite. There's a break from Vesperate, so now it should be an advantage to Norway. That is actually going to be a score lead in their favor. It's about the first time we've said that happen so far. There goes Zudinator as well. Is this a mispick from Canada? Low AR hidden against Norway.
Yep, this is the Norway special. GN, Yokespie, and Antoni W all holding on to the FC through the first quarter. It is only Cut Paper and Xylus on a reestablished combo holding on. The Cut Paper man, 99.82. He is looking as comfortable on this as anyone else in the lobby. Oh, but GN finding a break.
GN. Yeah, that's not a player you want to see breaking on the side of Norway, but it is still Yokespie and Antoni W holding on to the FCs. Cut Paper, the lone full combo for Canada. Xylus about 100 combo behind. So it's going to be the score lead staying about where it is for now. As long as Antoni W and Yokespie continue to hold, Norway is going to still be in an okay spot as we're about halfway through. There goes GN once again. That's not a combo that really makes much difference, though. It's all about those other players holding the full combos that are really the important ones.
Oh, there goes Xylus. That's the second biggest combo on Canada now gone. So Norway gonna be able to stop the bleeding a little bit. Vesper and Zudinator fall apart on that stream as well as GN, but that trade favors Norway. Yokes and Antoni, Nineric as well with a big combo. They're gonna look to take a break point.
Yeah, I don't want to say this is like over or anything with still a third of the map to go, but Yokespie and Antoni W look way more comfortable than just about anybody on Canada. Cut Paper doing his thing down there in the bottom left-hand corner. You can kind of just ignore him, unfortunately, considering the struggles that the rest of the team is having. It's all about Antoni W. Yokespie double FCing this for Norway. There goes Antoni W. That's a big chain miss. Is that going to be enough to matter, though, with the amount of time that's left?
I think if Yokespie breaks, it could still go back in favor of Canada, but Yokespie is looking so comfortable on these streams. This is looking to be a vintage Yokespie performance as Cut Paper finds the break. Yokespie breaks as well at the ending, but it's going to be enough for Norway into the slow ending. They have a 200k lead, which is going to be enough for them to take that elusive break point against Canada.
Yeah, it gets them one of the 2 breakpoints back. I'm going to be honest here, I really don't know why Canada went with this pick after what just happened on DT2 when they still had both other DTs available to them that they could have picked. I'm not really sure I know the logic behind this one. Obviously, a low roll score, you definitely expect their team to do better on this map than they did there. But even then, I think you see a map with lower variance if you pick a DT1 or a DT3 than you do if you pick the AR8 hidden. So a little bit of a question mark on this pick for me from Canada, but a very good performance from Norway is really what matters. The 868k from Yokespie, the 679k from Antoni W, and backing 500k from GN. It was just, they did enough to take the point and get one of those breaks back.
Nothing puts a smile on my face like Yokespie almost top scoring an AR8 hidden, carrying the map for his team. Love to see that. But yeah, now pick back in Norway's court. They're gonna be able to choose this next map. I really wonder what they go for here. I still think that Fremont 2 could be a good map for them because you're able to kind of invoke those comfort mods for a lot of these players like Antoni on Hard Rock and Yokes on Hidden. But after the way Canada modded that first free mod, you have to say the same with them. They're gonna be very comfortable on that map no matter what. But it's gonna be Nomad 3. I like this pick too, actually.
This is one of those picks that doesn't feel super slanted either direction. I think Norway, a team that's got some very solid alt players, but Canada likewise. Yeah, and this is kind of a lesser of the remaining evils type of pick as well, right? Because you're not going to be picking like a Nomad 2 here in all likelihood. So obviously not going to pick either of those DTs. I like I said before, I think you kind of sold me on the Nomad or the Free Mod 2 pick for Norway, but I don't mind the Nomad 3 either here. Just go raw alt. Some very difficult patterns in this one that are very easy to miss on. So if you're on anything but a very solid alt snap aim day, you might have some trouble.
This map has, I think, a little bit of an underestimated reading aspect to it as well. A lot of these snaps are overlapped on top of each other, where just a slight misread could cause you to miss aim. So something that could be a strength for players like Yokes and GN. We see them sticking in the lobby. Probably going to see them actually play this map.
Silas, an honorary Norwegian player for the moment, it would appear. Yokes, Jan, Anthony, W, and somebody. So shoutouts to Frederick. Just every song that they make is an absolute bop. Everything, it's always so catchy. And maybe no Xylus. We've got Ryuke, Yip, Cut Paper, and Zudi for Canada, so we just await the fourth for Norway, it would appear.
Maybe it is Xylus. Oh, never mind. He did not get that microsecond flag change. It's going to be Melver taking that fourth slot, so it's going to be Yokes GN, Melver, and Antony W up against Ryuke, Yip, Cut Paper, and Zudi Nader.
Are there any single tappers in this lobby?
Don't think so. In a different universe, GN, but I think if it were just a little bit lower BPM.
Well, in we go. Again, you know, everything at this point feels like a must-win for Norway. So it's a very important one as they try to win a pick of their own for the first time. They've gotten 2 break points taken from them, but they got one of them back, and this would be a big step forward if they can successfully convert a pick on their own side here, with a pretty tricky Nomad 3 being that obstacle.
Ryuke gonna find a break on that first alt pattern, but considering this map is 3 minutes and 21 seconds, that early break not gonna do too much to his overall score. I think one big place of contention on this map is at the start of the guitar solo, there's this back and forth pattern that's quite spaced. Seen a lot of players break on that.
Yeah, I remember that being a difference maker in the map when this was played in Romania versus Singapore, so definitely a spot to look out for. Some of these little patterns in the key eyes can just trip you up as well if you're not careful. The flow into sliders, into little snap aim elements. We'll see. Everybody looking pretty comfortable thus far. Just the early break from Ryuke. It is 7 FCs on the board still, and a small lead to Norway as we hit the 1/4 mark. Another decently long map, over 3 minutes. So again, it's all about the consistency, like many of the picks in this pool.
Oh, and there goes Yip on a slider break, but it's traded by Antony W instantly, so gonna stay at equilibrium here. Just a slight lead to Norway by 20k.
And there's another break from Yip. Not going to matter all that much since he had already missed. But it doesn't help, obviously. It's Cut Paper Zudi still on the FCs. Melver, Yokes, Pi, and GN, though, all on full combos for Norway. See what Antony W can do to build back up. But those FCs are going to be the important ones. As long as they can hold, Norway's going to feel fine with this one. It is only a 40k lead, though. It is not a big margin at this point, since the combos are relatively similar still.
Now we're reaching that dangerous halfway point of the map where any break from anyone with a big combo will throw it instantly in favor of the other team. And we're also quickly approaching that guitar solo that I mentioned earlier where there's that very difficult back and forth that could easily determine the map.
Boy, and if everybody comes into that with like a 1,000 plus combo, imagine how scary that is. You can kind of imagine the nerves.
Here it comes.
And here we go.
Oh,
and GN fumbles it. Yip and Ryuke, though, both break immediately after, so it is now Cut Paper Zudi Nader on the double FC, matching up against Yokes by Melver, and Antony W on that big recovery combo did hit that pattern as well, so he's at 600 plus. Advantage still to Norway as Yip falling once more. This is looking more and more like one that Norway might just be able to hold on to, but that double FC still looming on the side of Canada that could take advantage of any late breaks from Yokes by or Melver.
Through this long slider and that square. Yokes breaking on the last note! Now Canada.
What's fortunate is that Antony W has that big backing combo. There's just not very much time left, but it's 100,000 points and dropping. If Melver or Antony W breaks in the ending here, it could be all over for Norway, but it's going to come down. I don't know if it's going to come down fast enough. It's at 80k, it's at 75, 70k. It's coming down, but I think Canada's just going to run out of time here. Oh, it's only by convention W. Wait just a moment. It's 20K, 10K. It's going over, and it's going to be Canada taking the point in the last moments with the break from Anthony W. You cannot afford to have that happen right at the very end, and it is heartbreak for Norway on the verge of getting the pick back. Canada steals it away, and they will take the 4-1 lead.
No way. Canada just made out like bandits on that pick. Anthony W dropped his wallet and Canada just picked it up. The end, 20K victory on the last note. That is crazy.
Boy, the last stand there from Canada managed to make it happen. Zudinator 1/100/150, incredible accuracy. That's one of the highest scores I've seen on that one so far. Cut paper, I believe, with the FC as well, and it just managed to be enough. And Canada's not going to make the same mistake twice. They're going to go quickly into the DT3. They're going to say, nah, we want to end this right here and right now with a 260 BPM burst-heavy DT pick.
And that makes a lot of sense after how definitively they did win that DT2. Going to DT3 is the logical sequence to follow. We've got Enter Shikari Wall, mapped by Piroshki, of which I think we'll probably see the same rosters as we saw in DT2.
I would suspect as much, yeah. This is, it's, 40 BPM higher than DT2 and 10.2 as the approach rate rather than 9.87, so, kind of just upping the ante a little bit in those regards. But, once again, gonna see a pick that I think Canada should feel very comfortable with. My only question mark is maybe, speed player, quote-unquote, Curtis, having trouble with aim. This does have a little bit of an aim component, so if he feels uncomfortable with the aim on this one, they might just actually have Zudi play this because she's gotten good enough at tapping bursty maps that she can probably perform fine on it, and her aim is obviously way better.
According to someone in #tourney, I believe that's actually going to be the case. Zudinator gonna play this over Curtis. For Norway, it's gonna be the same roster as the DT2. Stoof gonna come in to take that final spot for Canada.
Well, if there was ever going to be a time that Norway needs to clutch up and make something happen, it is right now. 4-1, Canada with multiple match points in their pocket. Norway has those speed players, but they need to show up in a way that they were not able to on the DT2 pick a few minutes ago. They want to stay alive in the winner's bracket here. Unfortunately for them, the Canada strength on DT is just scary, man.
And like the last speed map, it is going to be knocking Yokspy out of the lobby, who has been playing so well this match for Norway so far. So that's going to be a big loss.
Yeah, it's always an advantage as a team when you can get one of the primary carries from your opposition out of the lobby. It's unfortunate, much like Badu on Romania on speed picks. Fortunately, Romania has built a little bit more of a roster around him in the last couple of years, but it's kind of a similar situation. Like, get him out of the lobby on the speed maps, much like you do with Yokspy here. And in we go. And this map kind of throws it at you pretty quickly. A lot of these triples and quints coming at you early and often. And it's an early break from Paper Candle. My heart really goes out to the guy who's clearly struggling with nerves today. It's been a difficult match for him to pick up any sort of consistency, see how he feels the rest of the way through this one. But it's going to be an early deficit for Norway as Penguinzi breaks, as well as Paper Candle missing a second time. Just in the intro alone, it's already 77, almost 80K. What is the score doing? I don't even know. Lead for Canada.
Yep, all those breaks in the first quarter. Not going to be end of the world for Norway, but as long as Canada holds on to a four-way, there's really nothing that Norway can do.
And there's another break from Paper Candle, man. It's just not looking great for him, unfortunately. And the accuracy shows that he's able to play the map okay. Just the misses due to likely nerves and shake. But Canada doing all that they can here. It's a four-way full combo through the first half of the map. 99 accuracy on Xylus, 99.3 accuracy on Zudi, and Stoof on Stoof accuracy.
Yep, Stoof on the accuracy has been really good this match so far. At least with the Fremont 1 and this. And Nineric finds a drop on this.
That's just doomed.
Really bad for Norway. Canada still on the 4-way at the halfway mark. Only one FC left on Comfy for Norway. I think we're reaching almost levels of GG, I guess.
Yeah, this is going to be point of no return here for Norway unless Canada full resets. It's a 600k lead. I gotta say this one's pretty much over. Unfortunately, Norway getting 2 DTs, picking a DT and getting a DT picked against them, and Nineric not FCing either and breaking right in the middle. The premier speed player on their roster is not on his best day, unfortunately. You hate to see it happen, but against a 4-way full combo, it really wasn't going to matter anyway. This is just Canada firing on all cylinders on the types of maps that they are incredibly comfortable and confident on. It's going to be another ridiculous team score here for Canada on this DT3, much like they showed on the DT2, and not much that Norway can do except watch and say GG well played.
Yeah, Stu finally finding a break near the end. This ending section actually has a lot of difficult finger control as well. Seen a lot of players struggle on this ending, but Canada already above 4 million team score. They are just rocketing towards the top of the leaderboard on this map. Still with 3 FCs.
3 FCs and all solid accuracy too. 99.58 for Zoodonator. To close things out, it's going to be, again, right up there at the 4.5 million. They actually crested it this time, 4.54 million. Canada, 3 full combos and 1 late choke with great accuracy from Stoof. And that is how they close out the match. That is how they close out round of 32 weekend. A 5-1 final score in favor of Canada. Norway does manage to put that point on the board on the perhaps ill-advised low AR hidden pick from Canada, but otherwise the Canadians just far too strong on everything else, and this was a match that was never in doubt.
Canada going to be moving on to the round of 16 to face Germany, and Norway going to drop down to loser's bracket to face Spain. And I believe that's going to do it for our round of 32.
Yep. Well, this was the last match for the week. All 16 matches done. We got a couple upsets. We got a couple tiebreakers. We had some great performances. Canada, the last team now to advance onward to round of 16. As mentioned, congrats to them on a well-played match against a unfortunately slightly overmatched Norway side. So that's going to do it for matches for this weekend. Of course, you'll want to stick around because in just a few minutes, we will have the round of 16 map pool showcase. That'll be just on the other side of a brief break. Miles, any last thoughts here on what we've seen in round of 32 before we go for just a little bit?
I think this round of 32 is really interesting this year. As always, there's always a few upsets in round of 32, but I feel like this year was just utterly chaotic, looking at a few matches in particular. Like, Ukraine sweeping Indo is something that I couldn't have seen a million years in advance. Like, that is an absolutely absurd result to that match. And also, lots of really close matches otherwise. We got, 3 tiebreakers, which I think is a lot more than we usually get in round of 32. So overall, a really cool weekend, I think.
A very cool weekend indeed. That is going to be it for us. I've been this one guy. He's been Miles. Thank you all for watching. Stick around. We're going to have a brief break, and on the other side, we're going to be joined by some members of the map pooling team for the round of 16 map pool showcase. Do not go anywhere. That is going to be in just a few minutes, and we will see you guys then.